Welcome to RVing in New England, the nation's only forum that puts you on stage with some of the biggest names in the RV industry. And now your hosts, John DiPietro and Bob Zagami.
And hello, everyone, and welcome to RVing in New England. My name is John DiPietro, and you're wondering where my cohort, Bob Zagami, is. And we want to tell you that Bob will not be at the show tonight because last week, just before we hit the airwaves, we found out the very unfortunate news that Fran Roberts, the founder, president, COO of Longview RV Superstores in the western part of the state and down in Connecticut, had passed away. And today is actually going on right now is the funeral arrangements. So Bob was unable to be with us tonight. But as executive director of the New England RV Dealers Association, Bob felt it was his obligation, and also being a friend of the Roberts for over 50 years, Bob is spending good time with the family and friends. So we want to let him know that his seat is still available for him to come back next week, unless we get a great response from this show, and then we probably really won't need him again, and this will be RVing with Johnny D. So we'll let our audience decide that. But tonight we have a great show, and we want to say a special thank you to our friend Bill Sell for engineering the show tonight, because you can see my hands are free, because I have no idea how to do all the technical stuff that our friend Bill is doing. We've got a great show tonight, and we want to bring up our two guests right now. And the topic tonight is going to be glamping. And first of all, joining us right now from Memphis, Tennessee, are Mike and Ann from Honey Trek. Hi, guys.
Hey there.
How you doing, John?
Good to see you again.
And also with us from nearby Normandy Farms Campground, America's foremost campground, in my opinion, right, Marcia?
Oh, yeah.
And joining us wearing two hats tonight. When I say two hats tonight, it's much more important that I do like this, because otherwise it's fake news if I say, just wearing two hats. Two hats as executive director of the Massachusetts Campground Association and one of the executives of Normandy Farms. So welcome, guests. And you want to just do this. We want to ask both of you, and then Marcia's working the counter at Normandy Farms tonight because it's just about sold out. Because Marcia, tell everybody we're coming into the Halloween season, and this weekend where people think everybody has put their RV away in New England. Not the truth, huh?
Oh, no. We've got sold out weekends for the next 4 weekends. So we've got them coming here.
There we go. So, Marcia, give us a brief definition of what you call glamping, and then we'll let you run off while we talk to the Honey Trekkers.
All right. Well, thank you for inviting me, John, and hello to Mike and Ann. Glamping at Normandy Farms is really camping with flair. We kind of think it as the red carpet of camping. And, at Normandy Farms, we have different types of glamping units. And I think the word glamping came after we had some of these units. There are cabins, our deluxe cabins are like hotel rooms inside. And then it goes all the way to our yurts and our safari tents, which, have everything that you would need inside, that you would need like at home.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Marcia. I know you want to go run to that front counter right now because there's people ready to check in. And thank you for calling Normandy Farms. How can I help you? And Marcia's going to be back in a few minutes. And in the meantime, our Honey Trek folks are going to tell us a little bit about their camping experiences. And we should say that the term Honey Trek was kind of like a honeymoon that turned into a trek, and is 9 years old now, right, you guys?
Yep.
But you've been to 60 countries, 60 countries on 7 continents. You've been written up in USA Today, Forbes. You've been on NBC shows, CBS shows. But you said, even USA Today, and you said before we went on the air that this is the media highlight of your career so far, being on RVing in New England.
Yes, absolutely.
We chose this. We actually got an invitation to the New York Times to do one of their podcasts, but we turned it down to do this one.
John called first.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that would certainly be understandable.
So we're trying to make this the #1 show for you, just like you alone.
Exactly right. Because what's the other guy, Bob? Who?
I forget. I already forget his name.
Forget it. You know, you're going for a minute, and you know what? This is kind of like he was Drew Bledsoe, and I'm Tom Brady. And once he's injured, we never saw Bledsoe again.
Yep.
So anyway,
a lot of rings.
But you guys have been all over the place, and you're kind of like the ambassadors of glamping, and so much that you've even written a book, and it's called Comfortably Wild. And tell us your definition of glamping, and let's discuss the future of it. And is glamping a threat to camping or another aspect of camping? So go ahead.
1 second on our backstory, just so you know, we're all on the same team, Glamping RVers. We actually are in our RV, of which we bought so that we could get to all these remote glamping camps around North America. I mean, we traveled 73,000 miles across 9 countries to research this book, and kind of fell in love with RVing and glamping at the same time, really.
There's a
they're very complementary styles. I do not.
That's Buddy, our camper.
I should stop you for 1 second. You do have a 45-foot Prevost conversion van, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's massive. We've got a hot tub. We've got a washer, dryer. No, this is our entire house. All 104 square feet of Buddy. Hardwood floors, 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
2-bedroom, of course, is the dining room table turns into a bedroom.
Yeah.
But of course.
Show that photo again.
No, Buddy.
So the idea basically is that, no, I do not think they need to be competitive at all. They marry really, really well. I mean, we would be hardcore boondocking around, the national forest. And, only so many days where you're like, I could kind of have a little more space and a little better shower and, meet some other people, because 104 square feet, we spent a lot of time together. So I think it's a great way to kind of refresh your camping experience. And for those who aren't familiar with camping and RVing, glamping has become a wonderful gateway into the outdoor community. So glamping really means, it's all started with glamorous camping, but really to us, it's about, being comfortable in the outdoors, making that more accessible for more people. And, on a higher level, because we think glamping is getting a little watered down. We want to stay true to sustainable practices. These are structures that tread lightly on the land and are thinking about the environment. And then for us, that book really became about the stories of the really inspiring people taking risks to share their neck of the woods with people. So, and offering them
these glamping camps,
engaging experiences. So,
and we also say that, to us, the definition of glamping, it means a creative structure, something, preferably unique or memorable, comfortable, like you're not sleeping on the ground. Maybe you've got some of those things Marcia mentions, some of those amenities of home, whether it's heat or, a glass of wine, or some of the things, some access to a toilet, I think is pretty important. And yeah, those proprietors we meet, and the sustainability, and it's kind of like it is a pretty broad area. It's no longer just like the canvas tent, the safari tent that everyone thinks of glamping is. Right. It's covered wagons, it's tree houses, it's domes, it's floating cabins. There's so many unique structures. It's teepees, and there's a whole history of glamping that goes long back before, the safari tents that we think of as like the traditional kickoff to glamping.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, I think, that think this glamping thing is a result of COVID, where they couldn't get a campground, and some innovative people, business people, put these canvas tents together, which they can really put together in not too long a period of time. But really, based upon your experience in your travels, glamping has really predated COVID, wouldn't you say?
Oh, for For sure. No, we started glamping in 2012, which was the start of our world's longest honeymoon. Because we were actually reviewing hotels for honeymoons.com. We had access to review 5-star resorts. And then we were like, we're going to Patagonia, which is, the end of the earth, wild places, surrounded by glaciers and striking peaks. And we're like, you don't want to stay in a hotel, but I also don't want to pitch a tent and go camping.
Yeah.
And then we discovered a place that was glamping. It was a fabulous geodesic domes with, all the amenities. And we're like, this makes so much sense. It was adventure, made more accessible, more comfortable, more luxurious, and access. We could still wake up, roll out the door, and go hiking. We weren't shuttling around in a car, and it felt much more immersive. And we're like, this ticks all the boxes.
And I would say, like, while glamping has been happening for decades. I mean, if you think of the classic safari experience, although it doesn't need to only be this way, but you get flown in, you get picked up at an airport from a bush plane, and you're staying in a canvas walled tent and getting served port and watching, lions and tigers, or rhinos and lions, in the field. So that's been going on for a long time. But your point about COVID, I think people do, they see it a lot more because so many people are now traveling domestically. They're also not wanting to be at the big box hotels, sharing a buffet spoon with the other 150 guests there, or sharing an elevator with 15 people crammed in there and not wearing masks, and you don't know where people have been. So glamping allows them to still have those luxuries that one or two people in, let's say, the family want. Maybe the other people are more comfortable in a tent or don't care, but it's a nice common denominator, but it still lets you get access to the outdoors, to be in nature, to breathe fresh air. So I think that's why we're seeing so more of it during COVID.
And we should tell our live studio audience, we have a live studio audience here, about 400 or 500 people here, that some of them are out in the green room now and enjoying some of the refreshments, just like you are there. But if you have any questions for Mike and Ann, feel free to type them in right there. Remember, these guys are globetrotters. It's not like they've just done New England. They've done 60 countries. I'm not going to ask if you can remember them all in alphabetical order and chronological sequence.
This is our Nat Geo book, Ultimate Journeys for Two, and there's kind of the first 5 years of our trip before we got the RV. I don't know if that's in focus, but that's the route we took for the first 5 years of the Honey Trek before we went domestic.
And then even domestically, we've been to all 50 states. We're like, we drove to Alaska, which means a ton of Canada. We've RV'd in Baja California, but all the while,
Mexico.
Sorry, well, it's Baja California, Mexico.
Yeah, in Mexico.
But and all the while we were blending glamping and RVing.
Now, would you consider New Jersey a foreign country, or is that domestic?
That was our last known address. Did you know that?
Oh, is that right? Didn't know that.
Our last known address was Hoboken, New Jersey in December 2011. That's the last apartment or house we've had ever. Like, we are full-time digital nomads. And I'm going to give a plug to Jersey because my mom was actually born in Jersey. Everyone thinks Jersey is either the Jersey Shore, so Pauly D, or the ride from Newark to New York City, which is an armpit of New Jersey. But there's so much lush nature and wilderness. I mean, it's called the Garden State for a reason.
Once you get out west of 278, and up in that area around I-80, et cetera, that's true. But you will have to admit that Hoboken is not really the best place to store an RV.
No, it's not. That's why we had to get out. So yeah,
exactly. So you guys were just involved in this Glamping USA online seminar. Well, actually, it was a kind of a hybrid seminar online. And what did you take away from that? And what are you finding are the questions that people are asking about glamping?
Well, it was a 2-day in-person event that we actually keynoted that show, which was a great honor. And then they gave Buddy the Camper his own booth to be a bookstore. We also offer glamping consulting services for people who are starting their camps or trying to refine their camps. We also do creative services where we do photography and social media. So we came in from, the trade perspective, but having, met, hearing the concerns from various, new camp owners and also the industry was, sustainability was a big topic. And, also staying unique as, if it gets trendier, that you can differentiate because it is getting to be more competitive. Yeah. Just having a pretty tent on its own isn't really enough anymore. You need to be offering an experience.
And there was a lot of RV campground owners there.
That's very
looking
true.
For how do I, hit a different echelon of clientele or provide a variety, right? Like we know a lot of people that one person in the family owns an RV like us, and we want to meet our friends somewhere, and we'll pick an RV park and say, oh, let's meet there, but they don't have an RV. If they've got cabins, if they've got tents or yurts, it's a great way that one person can be RVing, another person in the family can get a tent.
Especially on a multi-generational level where maybe the parents are RVers and like their millennial children are like, I don't want to RV. Oh, but we could meet together and go glamping, like solved.
Right. Yeah. Or the other way around, where the middle part of the family has the RV and the parents don't want to drive. So they come along and they get a cabin. And when Marcia comes back on, we're talking about all of the variety of different non-campsite, non-RV site, I should say, accommodations at Normandy Farms, as well as so many other great campgrounds throughout the United States. We've got several comments from our viewers here. We got good evening. We got good evening, evening. Hi, John. My condolences. That must be for Fran Roberts. Sandy Ellingson. I don't know. Sandy was just down at the Balloon Festival a couple weeks ago. She was our guest. I don't know. Sandy, type in now where you are now. Jerry Plant says Normandy Farms is our go-to recommendations for out-of-towners. Love Normandy Farms. You drinking rum and Coke? Bob, that guy drinks rum and Coke, whatever it is. But the question that I asked you when we interviewed you back in May for our other show called the Camper Report Show is the same question that Lisa has. How do you support this lifestyle? And I know that's been asked, and it's one of the points that you bring out on your website. So tell us that.
Yeah, I would say it's for someone looking to get into being an influencer or travel writer, or especially an author. You definitely can't get into it for the money and say, oh, I'm going to get paid to travel or paid to go glamping full time. Although that, our parents think it's pretty cool what we do, but it took a long time to get to this point. But now we do work with, like Ann said, we work with glamping camps. So people who are thinking about putting glamping on their property or in their RV park, we'll do consulting with them over Zoom and give them everything we've learned from glamping and what's good, what's bad, kind of handle those roadblocks. That's one source of revenue. We obviously wrote these 2 books. So when people scoop them up, or glamping camps, sometimes some glamping camps want to put Comfortably Wild in their cabins, or even RV parks that have cabins and yurts,
or in their stores,
or in their camp store for people to read. So that's a good revenue source. Then we also work with tourism boards to promote different destinations. We just worked with Visit Montana to promote Big Sky Country up there.
So, and recreating responsibly, because we're, that's near and dear to us.
Yeah. So a lot of different, a lot of different irons in the fire.
You need to wear 1,000 hats. It's just, we're always having to try new things, throw it at the wall. But really, I think our secret to success is learning to live simply. We lived in New York City. We had a really high burn rate. And then we got away from that. We're like, what? We didn't need all that stuff. Like, we're having a great time with just the simple things now.
Exactly. So, and like to that point about burn rate, I think people that RV, not RV full time, because those people know how to keep it low, but people who go on, 1 week or 10-day trips, and they're used to paying $80, $100 a night for a campground, and then food and all the other expenses and gas. And they think that, okay, it's going to cost $200 a day, let's say, to RV full time. But it's the exact opposite. The longer you travel and the more, stuff you do off grid, we do a lot of boondocking. So that keeps your burn rate down. We have kayaks on the roof, so we handle our own activities. Like, your burn rate can go really much lower than your tradition. Even if you're traveling abroad, which we do a lot still, we'll just park the RV in long-term storage. And we just got back from 3 months in Mexico without the camper. It's just so much cheaper than your traditional vacations that you don't need to earn the same amount that you currently need in your life, saying, okay, I need to make $6,000 a month to do it,
So you bring up a very interesting point, because between the two of you, you've used the term burn rate 3 times in the last minute. Okay.
It's important.
There are people, and I want to follow up on that. There are people that think that there's no way that they can camp longer than 2 weeks a year while they're in their quote unquote prime earning years, which means anything from anywhere to 65, because somehow society has said 65.
Which is also their prime living years. They don't recognize. They just think of it.
Exactly right. Okay, because say you're going to live to be 82. Okay. I could say, because I'm 71 right now, that I've got 11 more years, but everybody who's over 50 is one doctor's office visit away from selling their RV.
Yep.
What would you say to those people that are out there that kind of like are saying right now, I wish I could do what you guys do? You're living proof that you don't need the big 45-foot diesel pusher, and you can live simply, but there are probably plenty of people that have skills that they don't even realize that they have. And you said your consulting skills. Consulting used to be get on a plane with a briefcase and fly more than 500 miles, then you're an automatic expert. Now you can do it right from the comfort of your luxurious Datsun, Toyota motorhome. To talk to that point, to those people, and let them live their life while they can.
Yeah, and I think COVID is bad on so many levels. Obviously, we don't need to go into those, but on a good level, it taught so many companies, and even more importantly, so many employees, that they have a skill that can be done remotely. And while most of them, for let's say the first year of COVID, did it from their spare bedroom or their basement over Zoom with a little bit of work, and it's not, you're not going to be having fun 5 days a week, but you can take that skill and do it on the road with a little negotiation from your boss. My brother did that. He took his full San Francisco salary and he worked out of his camper another
accountant, which is
as
a
an
pretty
accountant
brick and
who
mortar
had-
job. And they told him, no way, you're not a remote worker. Well, COVID, everyone's a remote worker, and he was able to follow this dream after all.
And I would say so that's one. Everybody now has a skill. Most people do. Obviously, if you're a mechanic, that's pretty hard to do over Zoom. But most people have a skill or can find a skill. There's tons more companies now looking for remote workers because they realize it's cheaper for office space and training and healthcare and whatever. So they're looking for that. You can apply for that job. And I think an important step for people to take is to go past the just I wish I could do it. Someday I'll do it when I hit 67 and start collecting retirement. And we've all been beat into us our whole lives. Earn that money. Our parents did it. Earn it while you can, because you'll be older and you'll need it. And then once you're getting that steady income from Social Security and your pension, then you can go travel. But like you said, then you can't level the RV. You can't do boondocking. You need the luxury. So it's to put a plan in place, put it in your mind that you want to do it, and at least be prepared, start saving for it and start reading about it, because you never know when your boss is going to say, hey, we're trimming down the company. We're letting people go. We're giving everybody a 3-month severance. And if you're not ready, if you're ready and you've got money saved and you've already planned about how can I RV full time for 3 months, and he says that to you, cool. I'm out next week. I take my 3 months. I get paid. And when I get back, I find a new job. So it's to get your mind rolling, start talking, reading blogs about people who live full time. Look at their budgets, look at where they stay and how they do it, so that you're ready when the opportunity comes. It could be life. You could, have an injury. You could get laid off.
It's about prioritizing what you want in your life, and knowing that the sooner you have those experiences that we're all kind of lusting after, those become, a feather in your cap and a learning experience to the rest of your life. There's a lot of risk in waiting, right? And not even just the risk of you could keel over, but just the joy that comes from meeting all those wonderful people, having all those wonderful adventures, and then, cherishing that and growing from that as, continually. So I think it's just kind of rejiggering what matters. Yeah, there might be some sacrifices, but weigh them out. Do that pro and con list. And I bet you getting out there sooner will have far more pros.
Right. Because you can always come back and get a job.
Exactly.
Always. Everyone always thinks that. They're and the other thing is, when you leave and go on a trip, whether it's a 6 or 12-month RV trip around Canada, US, and Mexico, or you do an international trip where you go live in Europe for 6 months, I have never heard a single person who's did it. And a lot of people do it for 1 year and come back to the default world, their normal jobs. And I've never heard one boss who interviews that person and says, what'd you do for the last year? Travel all around Europe with your spouse? That sounds boring. I'm not going to hire you. No, you've got stories. You've learned stuff. You've met people. You've probably got 10 job offers, new job offers. Yeah.
And then that HR person is going to want to pick your brain to find out how you did it so they can do the same thing.
Totally.
Exactly.
But it's really amazing, and it's so nice to see people smile, because I think in all of the conversations that any of us had at campgrounds, or checking into the camp store, or buying wood at the camp store, you do meet some interesting people, in the RV world. You meet people from every different occupation, and there's no corporate ties and uniforms, if you will.
Yeah.
From that
Everyone's
aspect. But it's interesting. I think I mentioned to you before, when we get people that are our regular audience that join us, and when they join us late, they say, "I'm sorry." So at 7:16, we had Don and Pat Hawes say, "Sorry, we're a little late tonight." What? No, Bob? Well, they're finding out Bob who. And
all
then
good, Don.
our friend Walter Swenson, "Sorry, a bit late tonight, evening all from Central Florida." Sandy Ellickson asks a question, and we know you got to go. But we should tell you, why do you have to leave tonight? What event that you've got?
We've got like 5 more minutes, but tell them the event.
So it's so hard to like pin us down and have family members all be at the same place at the same time.
And we're going to Tahiti for 2 months until Christmas. We're going to be in Tahiti for the next 2 months.
So we decided today is Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We have pumpkin pies in the oven. We have, all the stuffing, dressing. My dad is here and our little nieces. So that's why I would love to stay in chat forever, but it's very rare to get my whole family together. So
tonight's your Thanksgiving dinner. So it's Halloween at Normandy Farms and Thanksgiving at your place.
Exactly.
And two quick questions. Have you ever been someplace twice? Says Sandy Ellickson, who also just earlier said you got to join us for the 50th Albuquerque. Have you been to Albuquerque for the Balloon Festival?
No, but our good friends,
as well.
Mark and Julie, good friends of ours from RV Love, they invited us down this year, but we had to go to the glamping show, like we said, to speak there.
We did get to hang out on their way to the balloon show and on our way to the glamping show. So we just hung out with them. They're great.
And they were just on the show. They were just on the show 2 weeks ago because they were with Sandy.
So next year we might need to do it, because next year, which is the 50th for the Balloon Festival, is also our 10th year of our honeymoon, like full time without a house. So we might need to.
Big experiences.
We'll do big experiences. So maybe we'll do do a little balloon champagne thing for our 10th.
Yeah. We'll bring the cameras.
So Sandy, when we're off the air, let's talk, and we'll give you break up, work, because you know what? When you're dealing with people that are globetrotters, you have to book them 6 months out at least.
Exactly.
Come on over next week. Well, next week I'll be in Tahiti right after my Thanksgiving dinner in October. Left for you both to have on your what's left for you both to have on your wish list?
Well, because we didn't answer that question about going to the same place twice. We are serial adventurers and we just are always wanting to explore and discover. But Mexico is a country that we come back to again and again because we just feel like it's just culturally so interesting. And
you were house sitting when we talked last.
Yeah, we were in Mexico. Exactly. Right. We wwere chatting last. So that's a destination we go back to again and again.
Yeah. And in the
generally we're always seeking more, but there's some places that capture the heart, and that's one of them.
Yeah, no, totally.
Great. Well, Bill, can we bring Marcia back up? She should be off the counter by now. Oh, Marcia, you made it back just off the counter, just in time. Anything that you were able to hear while you were working the front desk that struck your fancy that you want to comment on while Mike and Ann are still here?
I just love their experience and it just seems like the whole glamping piece of what you do is really for the experience. And I love that. It's not just for the pampering it's really to experience everything that you have around you. And I think that's really what glamping is. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's great that you feel that way too. Cause I can be about the Instagram photo. We're like, it's not about the Instagram photo,
Or just like a higher price, people are like, I can make more money doing glamping. So they'll come to the glamping show and be like, okay, what tent can I buy that's going to rent for the most? And they just think that it is that perfect dome photo that's going to make Instagram. But they don't think about the experience. Does the owner meet you? Like maybe it's something different that the glamping people get, like a little s'mores kit in their room or a hiking trail around the glamping tents or their own private fire ring that's different than all the RV guys. And it's maybe separated a little bit, so that they're not hearing generators and stuff. Like there's little touches that people can do. We just love meeting the owners of these places and going on their website and seeing their history and their story. So,
and when that personal story is woven through, so it feels like it was they're that it's something special that's being shared with you.
Great. And Marcia, I'm sure that and our audience as well, you can see the enthusiasm in their voices and the smiles on their faces. And that's so great. Do you find, Marcia, that when people come to Normandy Farms to either recharge or slow down, that they just have different, I mean, when they're checking in, right? If they've come off I-95, and you always have people at that front desk. I mean, when I checked in last week, the lady said, "Hello, John." What are you talking about? She goes, "I remember you from the last couple of years."
Yeah.
I mean,
that's the beauty. That is the best thing about what I do is we get to see everyone, happy. They're on vacation. They're getting to spend time with their family, or they're doing something that they've wanted to do for a long time. They're on vacation. So, that I love my job.
They're on vacation without having to get on a plane and, deal with all the baloney that you have to deal with TSA and people fighting on airplanes and everything else. Mike, you have a comment?
Yeah, one little thing before we jump off, because I know, like, as Ann mentioned, to us, like, glamping, like, a big part of glamping is sustainability. And I know there's a lot of, RV parks and campgrounds that are also focused on that, but there's also a lot that it's maybe lower on their priority list. Like, we've been to a lot of campgrounds that, there's recycling offered in the area, but the campground doesn't offer recycling bins next to every trash bin, or, they're selling pallets of plastic water bottles instead of having a refillable jug at the front and saying, "Hey, bring your Nalgene and fill up at the front." Like, there's little things that people can do, and especially for campgrounds or RV parks that want to get into glamping, like, well, one, you should just be thinking more that way in general, even if it's not totally profitable or it costs you an extra couple $100 to have someone drop off the recycling once a week. But those little things are important to the audience that, the glampers out there that do really care about being sustainable. So it's just important to put in your mind, and it's a good excuse. Like, hey, we're getting into this. Let's also layer on these few other ways that we can put on our website that we're sustainable. And so to think about that as part of the holistic plan, not just like, okay, we've got 3 pads, we're going to put up a dome and call it a day.
Yeah, because it's first and foremost good for the environment, but second, your audience wants that. You're at a slightly different target market.
Mm-hmm. I definitely agree. Being stewards of the land is different than being in a business that's looking just to make money. It's definitely different.
Yeah. Well,
and I feel so terrible to leave, but my family's going to kill me that we're missing Thanksgiving.
We want to let you roll.
So,
we'll say goodbye.
Thank you so much. Remember, folks, hold that book up, Mike. Bill's got the picture anyway. You can order it that way, or you can go on Amazon, and pretty soon you'll be able to go right to Normandy Farms and pick it up at the front desk.
Yeah, totally. Okay. Yeah, and to that point, like Marcia is going to do, if anybody runs a camp or just has cabins or whatever on their property and wants to get these at bulk order, you can just go to that link and shoot us an email.
Meaning wholesale.
Wholesale, yeah. We'll just sell them to you wholesale. Signed copies will show up at your door, and they can have some good reading material in their tents while they're cozying up under the stars.
Have an extra helping of stuffing for me. I think stuffing is the coolest part of a Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
So sorry
to
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
We'll watch the show. Yeah.
Thanks for having us on.
Yeah. So, Marcia, I hope you're still there.
I'm still here.
Okay, good. There we go. Technical difficulties. I can't blame Zagami for that because he's not here. But Marcia, talk a little bit about. Well, first of all, let me say, our friends from Texas had never been to Normandy Farms. We got to visit next time we're back in New England. Up front, I don't know if you heard Jerry say that. Jerry works at Majors RV. And he said, it is our go-to place for recommendations for out-of-towners. A lot of people come down to the Cape, and before you go back, you got to go to Normandy Farms. So they send up a lot. Audrey Foley Egan, I love Normandy Farms, incredible campground. Jason Cole is here. Jason, I'm sure Jason from Halo's Wish and the Good Sam folks, and the formerly Good Sam folks. But talk about the non-RV site accommodations that are available at Normandy or any of the other other campgrounds throughout Massachusetts, because again, you're wearing 2 hats. Got it
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
that people can avail themselves to if they don't own an RV?
So at Normandy Farms, we started with cabins, deluxe cabins, back in 2002. And when we put those in, they were, hotel rooms, basically, with air conditioning, heat, fireplace, all of that. So, I mean, we've had them for almost 20 years now. And since the cabins, we've put in yurts. So yurt is an acronym, and that's not a yurt, that's a safari tent. The safari tent that you have up there, right there, doesn't have a bathroom. So the closest bathroom is less than 500 feet away. But in here, it does have heat, a fan, refrigerator, microwave. It has a full-size, queen size bed, actually, sleep 6, has a gas grill. It's very comfortable. So
It's right on the edge of the property, so you don't have a million other people driving by you.
That's right. And your back window, basically, there is a little patio table and against the woods. So you don't know you're in Foxborough, right up against 495.
Yeah. No, my daughter and her family stayed there back this summer.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. Here's a comment here from our Ryan Hadley, who just won a 40 under 40 award for because he's under 40. You know, those young people, they get all those awards. They don't have, Zagami and I were going to get 8 under 80, but they don't have that award anymore. I love he's a mobile RV repair tech. I love doing work there. I want to go camping there one weekend when there's availability. Well, not for the next 4 weekends, Ryan, because mention that again, Marcia, what's going on for the next 4 weekends?
So Halloween is oddly popular, and we have 3 Halloween weekends. We had one last weekend, this coming weekend, and the weekend after of actual Halloween, and they completely sell out 18 months ahead of time. They go
next year is already sold out.
Next year is already full for the 3 Halloween weekends, which, everyone loves Halloween more than Labor Day and 4th of July and Memorial Day. So
it's kind of
I would suggest him to try a different weekend than Halloween.
Yeah, exactly. We should tell people that they are watching RV in New England. My name is John DiPietro. Bob Zagami, our normal other host, co-host, if you will, is at the funeral services for Longview RV founder and president, Fran Roberts, and is unable to make it, but will be back next week. He's probably watching us or listening to us as he drives back to the great state of Maine before he heads for, he was going to go do this event and then tomorrow head for Florida because they're moving to Florida for the winter. But he's going to move that departure date up a couple days so he can not do 15-hour days. But are you seeing are people calling Marcia now and saying, I want a glamping tent? Are they calling specifically for that?
Well, they know they're not calling specifically for that. However, our rentals are, because we book online as well, our rentals are soaring compared to years past. They're midweek. We're renting them right up until the middle of November, which we typically don't do that long in the season. But everyone seems to want to experience camping, whether they have a camper or not. So the rentals just have been crazy busy, which has been good.
We should tell our audience here that if you're watching live right now and have a question for Marcia about anything with Normandy Farms or any of the other, how many campgrounds in Massachusetts are in your association?
We have 57 campgrounds in Mass.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they really range from geographically as well as amenity-wise and everything else. Talk about some of the ones that are most come to your mind right away. And I know we put on a fence because, well, you didn't mention me, but you mentioned them. But talk a little bit about some of your other outstanding members.
Well, if we're talking about glamping today, we definitely have campgrounds in Mass that offer those experiences. Out in the Berkshires, we have Prospect Lake, Prospect Mountain, Berkshire Vista. We've got a lot up in the Berkshires that offer glamping. Then we also have Pine Acres, Pinewood Lodge, Sandy Pines. They go all the way across from the Berkshires to the Cape. Most campgrounds offer some sort of a glamping unit or experience. Yeah.
This year, that's just coming to an end, geographically, are you seeing people coming from farther away than normal?
Yes. We're seeing South Dakota, California, Washington State, a lot of Dakotas, actually.
Are those just the ones that they live in Massachusetts, but they're registered out there for tax purposes?
No.
Or is that Montana?
I think that's Florida.
I think there's a place where you don't have to pay sales tax on the RV. You see some of those big 45.
Right. Yeah.
But they're coming from all over, huh?
Well, they are coming from all over. And it's interesting because the type of units that you're seeing are the glamping style, huge, big bus, Class A motorhomes, pulling the SUV. They're not the cheap, travel trailers that we're seeing with the folks traveling across the country. They're bringing their own glamping units, let's say, and just bringing it in and parking it.
So are they using the facilities, or are they just getting in their car and heading to Boston or to Providence or to the Cape? What do you find facility usage wise?
They're using the facilities. We have more children playing at the playgrounds, couples playing pickleball, kids riding their bikes. I think a lot more families are homeschooling their children. We see a lot more activity on property than we used to.
So by the homeschooling thing, obviously in the summertime, it's not really a factor, but since Labor Day, have you seen a lot of intact families coming in that you find that?
Definitely more, right. Definitely more than we've seen in the past. Yeah, it's been good. It's been a different year. We found that with the guests that use our glamping units, they're more hotel-oriented guests, so they need to be kind of educated in glamping etiquette or camping etiquette, we should say. Not cutting through campsites, staying with your campfire, putting it out when you're finished. All of those things that campers sort of know because that's what they do. The guests we're finding that, they don't know. So we're being more educational than we have in the past, which is fine, which is great.
Yeah, I know we talked to the people at Bailey's at the start of the season about last year with all the new campers, where many of them had to, because again, they weren't aware of the camping/glamping etiquette of staying with your fire until it's out or putting it out, and noise. And many times the Scarborough police had to make a visit over to the campground to let people know that this is not like renting a room at, Hampton Beach or Salisbury Beach or something where you go there to raise hell.
Right.
So somebody asked before, you open year round. You were at one time.
We were. We're only open until December 1st, and then we're closed until April 1st.
Okay. And someone said, Frank Cates writes, when folks spot my Airstream trailer, I always tell them to rent first, then buy if that's what they really enjoy. Renting, glamping is a great break into the camp. Okay, glamping is a great way to find out if you like camping.
We just visited Auto Camp, which is a campground in Massachusetts. Just
over the bridge.
Over the bridge, just opened up in April, and their clientele, they're all 100% Airstream, rental tents or tiny houses, but they cater to the hotel industry. But what a fantastic way to segue the hotel guests into camping, because if they like it, then they're going to go buy their own.
Yeah, and that's what when we were talking, I think before we even went on the air or right at the beginning, that people coming into glamping may stay into, turn into buying a camper or buying, motorized or a towable or whatever. But have you been able to find out through any of the research that you do, or the people that come back, people that have originally came for a yurt or a cabin, that they came back with an RV? Have you found that to be the case at all?
We've had a few But I think, we see more of the families that some have RVs and they want to go camping together with their family. And then part of the family doesn't have one. So they'll still be able to come camping, and bring their own and rent one of ours.
Yep.
So we see a lot of that.
You'll do your best to see if we can get them
close together.
Somewhat close together.
Right.
As the cabins aren't all throughout the park. They're at the front end, pretty much all at the front end, right?
Correct. And we rented pop-ups for years. We have 3 of them. This year we didn't have them, and that's only because we couldn't get them through the manufacturer. Our dealer is still working to get them for us for next year. But with the pop-ups, the guests liked it because they could rent a site and then we'd put the pop-up on it, set it up for them, have it all ready to go. And we sell our pop-ups after that 1 year, then we'll sell them. And we see a lot of people getting into camping just through that.
Mm. Brad Moore says, "Hey, Marcia."
Hey, Brad.
There we go. So as far as the future of camping is concerned, I'm guessing that, and let's just talk Normandy Farms because you know the scoop there, but I'm sure that you must get a lot of the national companies that come in and say, "We want you."
Mm-hmm.
And obviously we know what the answer has been so far, but what do they say? Why should they? Why do you want to keep doing it? It is a labor. I mean, a labor of love, but it's hard work.
It is. And like we were talking about earlier, I'm the 8th generation of family members that have worked the land at Normandy Farms, since 1759. So there's a lot of pressure,
That's when Bob was born. we can say that now because he's not here, but you know what? He's going to go through the show and listen to every word. And I will get a text probably at 2 a.m. saying, "What do you mean 1759? I was born in 1760. Don't make him older than he is." But go ahead. Why do you want to keep it? It brings so much joy to everybody. I can't see our family not doing anything else. My dad, this is his baby. He grew it from the very beginning when he wrote a business plan to open a campground and turn farming into a campground because farming was going by the wayside. And, he's built this for 50 years. We're celebrating 50 years of being a campground this year. And, we can't see stopping that. We'll work the land however it comes, but it's going to stay in the family as long as possible. It won't be on my shoulders. To stop it from being a campground. So, and I think I've met your daughter down there who's going to nursing school or.
Yeah. So yeah. 2 of my daughters are off doing their own thing, which is what you're required to do. You need to go out and work for at least 2 years in some other field. I was a teacher for 10 years, elementary school, and came back. My sister was in marketing and she did her own thing. And now we've been back now 25 years, but, we had to go out and experience the world and not just, come into the family business.
Because so many times when you do come into the business without that outside experience, you expect to be a vice president on your first day at the job, but you've never cleaned toilets and, mowed lawns or picked up trash or cleaned up campsites. Do you make the new generation go through that? I don't know if you want to call it a common sense training program to know what it takes to run that place?
When they learn to walk, they learn to pick up trash, and then they, popcorn they can do about 8 years old, and yeah.
Machine. Okay, so they've all gone through it. Now, next generation. Now, how many are there between all your siblings and their kids?
There are 6, 7, 8, 9 kids. So, and they range in age from 30 down to 5. So there's a lot of time there.
And they get along.
Well, we're family.
Now, there's another guy who spent a lot of time. I see Frank Palanche wrote hello, and he was down there with that the charities event back in late September.
Yeah.
When we get together in September down there, it's like, wow, because we missed it last year. I believe we missed it last year. Mm-hmm. But when people come to Normandy, it's kind of like there's no reason to leave. no reason to leave. And, more and more people are finding out that to be the case. What would you say to our audience as far as when should they start booking reservations for next year? Because you had said that Halloween the Halloween season is already filled up. What's it looking like for the traditional Memorial Day, 4th of July, August?
Well, those weekends are very full, if not already full for next year. I would say book now for next year. Look at your calendars and book now for next year. Normandy Farms, we book 18 months in advance. We start in March. Right. And so this coming March, we'll start booking for 2023. So, just have to plan ahead. That's all. We only have so many campsites. That's all we have.
How many are there?
We have 400.
400. Okay.
Yeah.
I keep thinking all these different numbers of, but now they're building mega parks. Could you triple that size, Marcia? And, assuming you had the land, could you triple that size and still be able to provide the service that is needed with, let me try to figure it out mathematically. If you have 400 sites, what do you figure? During the summer when you've got families there, how many people are on campus on a sold out Saturday?
If we have 400 campsites times 4, 1,600, 2,000 people.
Yep.
Right. But we have 400 campsites and 140 staff. So if
that ratio,
the ratio is what we, is where we set our bar, our standard.
Yeah. Because the new properties that they're, especially down in Florida where the land is cheap, or put it this way, it's much more plentiful in New England. They are building these mega resorts, and I don't know if you can get the service that you can get, or even the help. I mean, was that a factor this year?
Definitely was a factor. Absolutely. I don't even know if it's going to get any better. It actually, thank goodness we're closing, so that we can at least, start searching and get ready for the next season. Nobody wanted to work. We had such a great team on staff this year. They just went over and above everything. But, to hire, we had incentives. We had 50-50. So if a current team member referred another person and they got hired, they each got $50.
Oh, okay.
And we hired quite a few people during the season that way.
Interesting, because the traditional ways of doing it don't seem to work anymore.
They don't.
For whatever reason. Frank Hates writes, I'm impressed when I see family camping ownership. My best campground experience is at the Cape and is a second generation operation. I ask if they plan to sell out and they say no for the time being. Now, gets to the point where many times the land is worth more than, people, and there might be people that think and look around, okay, 400 sites, X number of dollars, all that money they're taking in, but they don't realize there's not 12 months worth of sold out business there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure because you're in the state of Massachusetts, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, that the taxes go up every year, the fees go up every year, the cost of operation goes up every year as well. So there's that to be concerned with as well. Now, Rick Kessler joins us from either Southern Michigan or Elkhart, but he writes spaghetti. Now, I don't know what he means by that. Kessler, normally he responds. Now, Kessler is the editor of RV Business, our good friends out there, but he usually joins just about this time because he can't tell time. But I don't know what he means by spaghetti. So anybody else with a question for Marcia, go right ahead. And she's here. Just don't ask her for a free place. Just letting you know what I had for dinner. Okay, great. Spaghetti. See, we have a personal relationship with our people here. How about longtime employees, Marcia? Because I was impressed with the lady who said something to me, and I said, how do you know who I am? She said, because you come this weekend every year. But longtime employees are really to be valued, are they not?
Oh, we have our office manager's been here for 35 years. It's the longevity is really worth the loyalty, is really worth everything. It's like becoming part of our family. When you join our team, you become part of our extended family, and we treat our employees like they are family. So, sometimes we make them upset, but most of the time we're trying to, keep them happy more than anything. So I think just treating them like family, helps them keep coming back. And, we get to see, and that loyalty of campers coming back generation after generation. And we have staff members coming back, with their cousins and their sisters and brothers, and, whole families join us and work.
So you must, after 50 years, you've got to have third generation campers there where
yes,
the grandparents. I know we saw that up at Bailey's, very similar situation, 50 years. You probably know those folks as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact is, the loyalty factor, if you treat them right?
That's right.
It's not brain surgery, right?
Right. That's right.
Okay.
You treat your staff and your campers right.
Yeah. Okay. Rick Kessler writes, when the campground is always full, when do you cut the grass? In other words, how do you maintain the park when it's always full of campers? But
we maintain the park when it's the least busy. So, as far as cutting grass, every Wednesday, we tell our guests every Wednesday is grass cutting day. So they need to pick up their things off the lawn if they have anything. And we cut all the grass that day. Just communication, I guess, is how we get things done. But no, the big projects don't get done in the busy time. We have to do those when we close.
Yeah. And Walter Swenson writes, Walter, who's also part of the New England Camping Charities. I'm third generation and our kids fourth generation and grandkids already. I know our grandkids and Walter's grandkids love the playground because they can, there's that one thing where they
slide.
They slide across.
Yeah.
See, I'm impressed. The playground.
Well, no, my son broke his leg on that. So he was in first grade. Yeah.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I'll have to keep her off it next time. But anyway, so we want to thank you so much and let our folks know that Marcia Galvin from Normandy Farms and the Mass Campground Association has been our guest, along with Mike and Ann from Honey Trek. And if you want their book, you can get it online. It's called, what is it? I wrote it down. What's the name of that book?
Comfortably Wild.
There we go. Thank you very much, Bill Sell. Bill Sell, come out from behind the curtain because you saved the day. Bill is our number one engineer.
And our event that we did online back in April.
Yep. Bill, tell people what you do, because there might be some people in our audience that Bill is an expert on putting together online events.
Online and in person.
Right.
They were in-person events for decades. And then when we had to switch to things online, you don't want to give up the community. Just like we couldn't do the Boston RV show, the RV and camping show. So the next best thing was to go online. And now people still want to continue with the online, but still go back. So you have to kind of blend both of them.
And that glamping show that we were just talking about was a hybrid show.
It's a hybrid show. A friend of ours, David Corse, ran that. It's a U.S. offshoot of a U.K. publication. And they were online only last year, but this year they were able to bring it back in person and make it happen.
Yeah. But Marcia's happy because you can't go camping online.
That's right. Absolutely true.
You need that face to face.
You can make your reservation online.
You make your reservation online and then go camping in person. Don and Pat Hawes said that Marcia is so right. You need to treat your guests and your staff as a very valuable asset. Mm-hmm. And they said another excellent show, not as good as what Bob would have done. I don't know if I agree with that, but nevertheless, we want to thank Marcia for being with us and let people know that they have been watching RVing in New England. My name is John DiPietro. Bob Zagami will be back next week. And folks, as you share this, if you'd be kind enough to share it and hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube, we'd appreciate it a great deal. So with that being said, Mr. Sell, do we have the band all lined up to run our closing credits? We will say thank you so much for joining us right here on RVing in New England, brought to you by Normandy Farms.
This edition of RVing in New England was a presentation of the New England RV Dealers Association. Thanks for watching, and be sure to like us on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram.